More now on the big story this morning. Donald Trump surrenders and is booked into the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, becoming the first former president of the United States to ever have a booking photo taken. Trump faces 13 counts of alleging a scheme to reverse the 2020 election results in the state of Georgia.
So joining us now is former federal prosecutor David Weinstein. He's here to talk about it. Good morning, David. Thanks for being with us.
You're welcome. Good morning,
Okay,
Betty.
so unlike these other bookings, we saw the mugshot for inmate number P011358009. That is the former president. So these visuals, these numbers, all of it very unprecedented, but it really brings a stark reality to what sometimes can seem like white noise with so many indictments, so many charges. So how strong of a case is this one?
Well, you know, the evidence that was amassed and that was put forward by the district attorney in her indictment seems pretty strong. She has a number of witnesses who are going to testify who were on the inside. She has the recorded call. She has paperwork, and she has the information that she needs to put her case together and go forward. It is, amongst the four cases, one of the stronger cases.
The prosecutor in this case, you're a great person to ask this question. Fani Willis made sure the RICO charge was a state charge, so the president, if he becomes president again, cannot pardon himself because it is a state charge. Is this legal strategy here?
Well, look, the crime that she's alleged took place here, this enterprise, this racketeering conspiracy, it occurred, and the acts that went forward took place and affected the election that happened in Georgia. And so it's certainly proper for her to bring these state charges. The fact that she has this other arrow in her quiver, and that is if there's a conviction, he can't pardon himself, well, that's just an added bonus for her. But he affected the election, according to what she says in her indictment, in Georgia. So it seems natural that she would be the person to bring these state charges.
And there is, to follow up on that, there's a mandatory, what is it, 10 years in prison if he's convicted on that RICO charge?
It carries a mandatory minimum sentence. It allows her to bring evidence in as evidence of this conspiracy that took place outside the state of Georgia. It allows her to try these defendants together, to introduce evidence against one, against the other, and gives her a very good tool to put her case in front of jurors.
I think the key there, it's a mandatory minimum sentence, right? So part of the Trump team argument here is there's nothing illegal in questioning the election results. Can that hold up in court, especially with Trump's new lead attorney, Stephen Sadow, who has a really deep knowledge of Georgia's racketeering law and defending other high-profile clients?
Well, Betty, the question isn't challenging the election, it's how they challenge the election. And from what we've seen in the allegations contained in her indictment, it wasn't just about, we believe there was something wrong that happened here, we'd simply like to bring into question what took place, but rather, as she's alleged it, it was a conspiracy to alter what took place here, to actually, in the phone call, get votes that he thought that he should have had, to create a false slate of electors to go forward to represent the votes that were tallied in Georgia and in other states. So it's not so much about challenging the results of the election, but how they went about challenging it and the methods and tactics that they used that make this, in her mind, a criminal charge.
All right, so Betty brought up a great question earlier this morning, and we're talking about the timeline of this. The prosecutor wants this to happen now, you know, within a couple of months. Obviously, Trump's legal team wants to draw this out as long as possible, especially with the legal cycle starting, or the election cycle.
Right.
Right, and Keith and Betty, that's exactly the tactic he's employed in every one of the cases he's had so far. All four of them push this out as far as he can push it out, drag it out as far as he can past that next general election. But the problem he's got here is that one of his co-defendants, Chesbrough, has asked for a speedy trial.
Right.
And right now, nobody's asked for a severance. They will perhaps down the road. I suspect that they're all going to ask for a severance, but he wants a speedy trial, so that's why they've asked for this October trial date. Now, he can move to be severed from everybody else, but he has to have a factual and legal basis because the prosecutor wants to try all of these people together.
David,
so it's
let me follow up on that about the speedy trial for one of his co-defendants, because is that kind of a way of saying, okay, DA, we're going to challenge you on trying to make this case happen in October because we don't think you're ready. And if you're not ready, then this could get dismissed.
Well, that's exactly it, Betty. That's exactly what they're doing. They're calling their DA's bluff. They're saying, okay, fine. You're ready? We're ready. Let's go. We're going to do this fast. We're going to do it quickly. If you don't have your evidence and you don't have your witnesses, well, we're going to call you on the carpet and we're going to call your bluff and we're going to say, let's go right now.
But Trump can't take that same gamble?
Well, he could, but I'm not sure that he wants to do that for a variety of reasons. He's better off pushing this off after perhaps some of the other matters have moved their way through litigation. It also gives his lawyers more time to look through the evidence that they have. Because if you say you're ready, then you're ready and you can't ask for more time.
All right, you're ready, let's go. All right. David Weinstein, always great picking your brain. Love to do that. Of course, we will see you here in future mornings. Thank you, sir.
Great insight. Thank you.